Hey everybody, welcome to a Wednesday night True Crime After Dark. This was kind of a last minute thing I put together last night. I hadn't intended on doing a live stream tonight, but yesterday a lot of interesting stories came across my news feed as far as some solved cold cases, like really old 40 to 50-year-old cold cases that have been solved, missing person / homicide cold cases. And then I also had some other stuff stored up in my browser. So I said, what the heck? We'll do one tonight. I have nothing else to do. I still have the house to myself. It's me and the cats have the house to ourselves. So we're going to talk about, and then I have a featured missing person for the night, and then some other stuff that's been some current stuff that's been going on in the news, true crime world news, with some current cases that are going on. But it's good to see everybody here tonight on a Wednesday night. We usually don't do them, well, about every other Wednesday we'll do a True Crime After Dark or an Unsolved, where we take a look at unsolved homicide cold cases or something of that nature. So let me see who is here tonight. And once again, I'm working off my phone trying to read comments, so bear with me. JP's Respawn Lobby is here. I still haven't figured out if that is our JP. I'm assuming it is. Miss Stormy is here. Welcome, my dear. Good to see you. Chris is here. There he is. Good to see you, sir. Miss Doodle is here with her usual hello humans. It's good to see you, Miss Doodle. Miss Paula is here. Good to see Miss Paula. Let me see. Chris says, I'm excited for this because there's a great news that needs to be talked about. Is there any particular case you're talking about, or just, yeah, like I said, I have, I think yesterday or the night before and yesterday, like 3 articles about unsolved missing persons / homicide cases that were 40 to 50 years old have been solved using DNA, genetic genealogy. So I was excited about that. But yeah, if there's a particular case, Chris, that you're talking about, let me know and we can take a look at it. Mustang is here. Hello, friend. Good to see you. Watch out for storm. I hope you made it through okay last night. I know up in Mustang's up in west part of Arkansas. I know they got hit last night, and so at some point tonight, they're supposed to start coming. Move the storms that are in Oklahoma right now are supposed to start moving this way, and they're going to move into northwest part of Arkansas first, and then into central Arkansas where I am. So I just hope everybody anybody and everybody who is in the line of these storms, just be aware. Stay tuned to your local local news stations for their weather reports. They are talking about tornadoes. Now, storms don't bother me. Tornadoes, don't like the naders so much, but yeah, I've seen that a lot of in northwest Arkansas. There are a lot of there was some damage, there were some power outages. So it's just that time of year. Unfortunately, it happens. Chris. Oh. Chris says, I know that the FBI top 10 list has a new spot for a bad person. What bad person? Did they find one? Did they catch one? Let me know who it is, and I will look at it. Thank you. Mustang is getting links in. Let me see. Chris says, let's talk about Keyshawn. I cannot read. I apologize. I can't see. Keyshawn Roper getting arrested. All right, I will look at that. Let me see if I can find anything about Keyshawn Roper. Let me back out of here and see how to spell it. K-A. See what I can get to. Okay. It's a woman. All right. All right. I will get that. I will get that loading while I get caught up on comments, and then I will read. Mustang said they had storms earlier today too. Yeah. It just hasn't got here to central Arkansas yet, but it's coming. It's coming. But I did watch a little bit of the local news, local weather, and they said maybe, hopefully, when it gets here to central Arkansas, that the storms will kind of weaken and maybe not as big of a chance as tornadoes. So hopefully not. All right, let's see what this says, and I would screen share, but I couldn't get StreamYard to work on my computer, so I'll just read it. This is from foxnews.com. A woman added to FBI's 10 most wanted list arrested hours later. So she had just been added after tips poured in from Florida. So a woman who is on the run for nearly, don't make me sign in, 6 years after allegedly GSWing two people, was arrested in Florida on Wednesday, just hours after the FBI added her to its 10 most wanted fugitives list, and they were offering a $1 million reward. Keyshawn Nicola Roper, 50, was wanted for allegedly firing multiple shots at a car in Missouri in August of 2020. Striking two women, one fatally. FBI Director Kash Patel told Fox News Digital, a quote, Keyshawn Roper was on the run for nearly 6 years. Hours after we added her to the 10 most wanted list, tips poured in, and our partners had her in custody. The FBI said after adding Roper to the list on Tuesday, the agency received multiple NTOC tips out of Florida Wednesday morning as to her whereabouts, where tipsters reported a person resembling Roper's description quickly packing a vehicle with belongings. So yeah, that's not sus at all. Officials said that partners rapidly coordinated and using the description of the vehicle in question, conducted a traffic stop and took her into custody. Roper was subsequently booked into the Alachua County Jail. She is charged with second-degree homicide, armed criminal action, and unlawful use of a weapon in Missouri, along with a federal charge for unlawful flight to avoid prosecution. Patel added 8 of the FBI's most wanted fugitives have been captured in just over a year. So that's a pretty good rate there, which is, they say, more than double the previous 4 years combined. Patel said, quote, outstanding work by the FBI Kansas City, FBI Jacksonville, and our state and local partners in Florida and Missouri. So yeah, it sounds like most definitely got a, I don't know, let's see if I can lighten up my screen on my phone. It's dark. I can't read it. Maybe that's why I was having trouble reading. Ah, much better. Okay. So yeah, definitely got a dangerous person off the street. So thank you for bringing that to my attention, Chris. And I will go back and add that article. Let me bookmark it here down at the bottom. I will add it to the list of the online sources I use with the ones that I already listed that I'm going to use tonight. So feel free to read any of the links. Once again, they'll be in the description box. Read them at your leisure, share them out to help bring more attention to these cases. Whatever you wish to do with them. All right, let me get caught up again. I see some people snuck in on me. Sleuthy said it's cloudy. It's been sprinkling here. Nothing much more than that. Hey, Mark, good to see you. Welcome in. Hey, Sammy. Sammy just popped in. Welcome. Welcome. I can't talk as usual. It's hump day. We've made it halfway through the week. Welcome. Always good to see you, Sammy. All right. So I have that, and let me get this. And I do have I think about 3 videos to go along with a lot of these stories that we're going to look at tonight. So the first one we're going to look at is from where is it from? Where is it from? Well, if I would advance my slide, maybe it would tell. Okay. I can't read my slides. They're only so this is the first one is regarding Deborah Kennedy. And this is it's 30 years ago. Happened 30 years ago, and an arrest has been made in her case. I'm trying to see where it was from, but Southfield somewhere. Maybe it tells in the other article. Just a little background information. After nearly 30 years, an arrest has been made in a Southfield homicide case. Deborah Kennedy, 40, was found stabbed to death inside her Southfield home on the 24,000 block of Lee Baker. And according to Southfield police, her suspected unaliver lived just right across the street from her. So I do have a video for this one that I'll play right quick, and then I do have an article with some statements from her family after he was arrested. So let me take that down.
An arrest has been made in a Southfield murder case. The family of Deborah Kennedy has been waiting for justice since 1997. CBS News Detroit's Veronica Ortega has more on what led detectives to the suspect.
40-year-old Deborah Kennedy was found stabbed to death inside her Southfield home here on Lee Baker. According to Southfield police, her suspected murderer lived right across the street.
After Kennedy didn't show up at work, a welfare check led to the gruesome discovery on February 20th of 1997.
There were no signs of forced entry. However, evidence indicated that Mrs. Kennedy fought with her attacker during that fatal encounter.
Witnesses were interviewed and evidence was collected, but the case still went cold. That was until Detective Brian Weeks had it reopened in June of 2024.
All these victims and families, they deserve justice. And sometimes you don't have the resources or the funding, but there are people waiting for days like today. So I think that's important.
Kennedy's cousin recounts his first encounter with the detective.
Detective Weeks, when we met, he was like a bulldog. He just would not give up.
2 pieces of evidence were resubmitted for advanced forensic testing. A fingerprint found on a credit card at the scene and fingernail clippings from the victim with traces of skin from her alleged attacker. Both led to this man, Robert Covington.
We believe that Mr. Covington acted alone. The motive for this crime remains unknown.
You got a warrant for what? Out of, say, traffic warrant?
Working with law enforcement partners in Illinois, Covington was taken into custody last month.
I think he knew it was something more than a traffic warrant on a Sunday night.
Covington is charged with 1 count of open murder.
We're so grateful. We're so thankful.
Covington was arraigned on charges earlier this month. He's still in the Oakland County Jail without bond. His next court appearance is April 23rd. In Southfield, Veronica Ortega, CBS News, Detroit.
Yeah, so it never ceases to amaze me how after 30, 40, 50 years that they can solve these cases using DNA, genetic genealogy most of the time. Now, I do have an article, statements from the family. This is from April, so just a couple of days ago, April 14th of this year. The family says the hurt is still there. A family gets answers as the DNA leads to arrest in 1997 Southfield murder case, homicide case. So Southfield police, and this is from Michigan, by the way, Michigan. Southfield police say they may never know why Deborah Kennedy's life was taken, but they say new forensic testing has identified who was responsible nearly 3 decades later. Police arrested Robert Covington, 58, in Royal Lake, Illinois, and took him into custody in a case investigators say is 29 years old. Police credited advances in forensic science and continued detective work for the break. Detective Brian Weeks says, we made a commitment to do everything possible to bring resolution to this case for Deborah Kennedy and her family, end quote. So Deborah lived alone on Lee Baker Drive, and then in February of 1997, police say that a co-worker asked officers to check on her after she did not show up for work at the GM Tech Center. So the police went there, and unfortunately, they found her stabbed to death. So just trigger warning. I've got my creeper down at the bottom with the trigger warning, but some of these cases tonight are... sorry, ads keep popping up. Definitely have trigger warnings. Southfield Police Chief Elvin Barron said that there was no sign of forced entry. He said evidence indicated that Deborah did fight with her attacker, which is a detail that later became critical. Police said that DNA found under Deborah's fingernails and a fingerprint recovered from a credit card found on the bedroom floor did not identify a suspect at the time. Investigators now say both pieces of evidence match Covington. Um, Barron said, quote, it's proof that even after decades, evidence can still speak and the truth can still be uncovered, end quote. And that's absolutely true. It's just like I said, it's amazing. Police said that Covington, at the time, lived just across the street with his wife and his mother-in-law, and that he left the state about 2 months after Deborah was killed. Family members said that the arrest brought a renewed emotion and relief. It's kind of that bittersweet feeling. Her cousin Reggie Dangles said, quote, Deborah was a sweetheart. She was a darling. She was very loved by her family. Even to this day, over the years, the hurt is still there. But at least now they have some measure of closure. Once again, closure is a blanket statement, a broad statement, but at least now they know who did it. He has been arrested. Assuming he would be charged or has been charged. And make sure that is all that I had on that one. So yeah, I always like to bring, because usually we do, which they are also, obviously very important, the ones that we don't, have the happy ending or any kind of ending, any kind of answers or anything. So it's nice to have some good news stories every once in a while. Let me see here. I know I marked where I was at. Hold on. Come on. Nothing's wanting to work. Oh, Sleuthy said she's heard it. She saw this one. Yep. Yeah, I'm telling you, it was like bam, bam, bam yesterday. It was just things were popping up. Oh, new batch of comments popped up. Hold on. I have to get back down to where I was. Goodness gracious. Hold on. I've got to get back down to let me turn my camera off while I'm doing this. So I can lean in so I can read here. Okay, there. Okay, so yeah, there's Stormy. Chris says Colt Hayes and Molly Miller have been found. They've been positively identified. Yeah, I think we talked about that. I think maybe on our last True Crime After Dark. So they have been positively identified, right? Nope. Stormy said, my comment keeps disappearing. It's probably getting flagged. Why would it get flagged? I don't know why it would get flagged. Oh, but the principal, telling you, the principal in Oklahoma, try putting it again. If it has anything to do with SA or predators, but I mean, you know how to word things where they won't get flagged. There's Josh. Hey, my friend, how are you doing? It's good to see Josh here. Hello, my friend. I hope you're doing well tonight. He says, greetings, Earthlings. Now, that's Friday night. Friday night, we're going to be talking about some UFOs. Oh, goodness. But it's good to have Josh here tonight. Please check out Josh and all these other wonderful creators, Josh and Stormy and Miss Paula and everybody else who is in here that has a channel. Okay, Stormy says YouTube is doing it because of the topic, but I don't know how to rephrase it. Give me the name. What is the name of the principal, the name and the state, and I'll see if I can look up an article. Just give me the name and the state to start with. and I'll see what I can find. Why is, sorry, doing some multitasking here. I'm gonna try one more time. It is just so much easier to do stuff on StreamYard on my computer. Oh, it may work. It may work. Hold on. It may work for a minute. Who knows? And then it may poop out. We'll give it a try. Give the old college try here. Let me get down to the comments here. Bunches of comments. Okay, we'll see. Let me see if it'll work. We'll try it. We'll try it. Let me see. Ooh. Mark says, just say football tackle. I'm assuming that has something to do with the principal. Let's see. Hey, Miss Peggy, good to see you. She says she's lurking, making dinner. That sounds good. I had a microwave dinner tonight. I had some spaghetti and meatballs in the microwave tonight. Oh, I'll spill my drink. Sleuthy said YouTube is super sensitive with words and grouping. I've seen the PDF list and it's ridiculous. Where can you find that PDF list? So, Stormy, if you can tell me where I can find it, or if you can send it to me. I try to stay away from the words that I know YouTube doesn't like, but I may accidentally say some that I don't know are on the list, you know. JP says his eyes are huge. Are you talking about Mr. Baker there, or not Baker? What was his name? I can't even remember his name. Doesn't matter. The offender. Hey, Junior. Good to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well in Michigan. I know up around, was it yesterday, Michigan and all up around there, we're getting tornadoes and all kinds of bad weather. So I hope you're doing okay. Made it through the storms okay, Junior. Okay, got it. Mark says a principal stopped a mass incident. Let's just put that. A mass pew-pewing. Excellent. Good for him or her. Excellent. Where was it at? And I'll see if I can find an article about it. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Mark just put it in there. So Stormy said Mark just came out and said it, and it was fine. I tried to misspell it, and it got flagged twice. YouTube is wacky. JP says Friday night music scene this Friday. John Paul Henson be there or be Triangle. What time are you going to do it? Because I'm doing a live at probably 8 or so Central Time. We're just going to do our UFO alien mysteries and conspiracies. Kind of a fun chill live stream. Let me see. Yeah, YouTube is just crazy. Okay, thank you. Are you talking about the PDF, Stormy? She said I'll find it and send it to me. Junior says, I've never tried microwave spaghetti. It sounds terrible. Well, it's one of those, like a little, I think it's Hormel Completes. It just comes, in a little thing, and you just heat it up for a minute. Yeah, it's not good at all. Obviously it's homemade spaghetti, but, it's fast. It's easy. And I worked a little bit later than I had intended to today. So I was in a hurry when I got home. Yes, I do too. Josh says, I sure wish YouTube would carve out a true crime YouTube and have a different AI algorithm for it. I know. Because it's not like we're saying these words to be profane or, what word am I looking for? To be profane and dramatic and, outlandish. It's just the nature of true crime. Sometimes you have to use certain words. I mean, it's part of the story, but yeah, I agree though. In Oklahoma. Okay, let me see if I can find something. Go to my Google tab. You hear me banging on the keyboard. Okay, here's one from ABC News. It'll come up. Oh, poor Biscuit is out there. I can hear him out there whining. His brother's out there with him. They're fine. They'll be fine. Well, of course, now nothing's coming up. Could be just the site, or it could be my farm signal. Let me try another one. Excuse me. Well, maybe something will come up. Yeah, that's true. Mustang says YouTube holds normal comments for review also. Yep. Junior said they had tornadoes north of me. We had some really big thunderstorms. I got water standing in my yard. Well, at least you didn't get hit by a nader. That's the good thing. Kip Moore, is that the name of the principal? Yeah, Stouffer's aren't bad. Junior said I eat Stouffer's frozen meals sometimes. They're not bad. Yeah. You are correct. Let me see if this. Okay, got it. It came up. So this is from foxnews.com. New video shows Oklahoma high school principal tackling offender who opened pew inside the school. A newly released video shows the moment an Oklahoma high school principal confronted and tackled a offender after he opened inside the school. The footage shows Pauls Valley High School principal Kirk Moore confronting the suspect, identified as a 20-year-old former student Victor Hawkins, after he walked into the building on April 7th. Moore was shot in the leg during the confrontation and was airlifted to a hospital in stable condition. The video also shows someone opening a door and allowing the suspected gunman into the building. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation told KFOR TV it does not believe the individual was working with the suspect. But why would you still? Because I know, ever since forever and a day now, since all these mass incidents have started happening, schools are a lot, they keep the doors locked. You have to come, to the door. They usually have at least one school resource officer, depending on how big the school is, or maybe 2 or 3 officers there, and you have to, come and check in or whatever it is. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not blaming the person, obviously not blaming the person that let the offender in, but so it says investigators have not determined whether the person who opened the door was a student or a staff member. An OSBI spokesperson told Fox News Digital there are no other suspects in the incident. Authorities said that the incident unfolded at around 2:21 p.m., prompting a lockdown until officers cleared the scene. Moore and other staff subdued the offender until law enforcement arrived and arrested Hawkins. According to an arrest affidavit obtained by the outlet, Hawkins entered the school carrying 2 loaded semi-automatic handguns. The affidavit states that Moore ran to the lobby after hearing gunfire, where Hawkins allegedly fired at him, striking him in the leg. Moore then wrestled with Hawkins on the bench in the foyer and was able to remove Hawkins' firearm from his hand. This is according to the affidavit. Moore and other staff held the suspect down until officers arrived. Hawkins was charged last week with 1 count of pew-pewing with intent to take lives, 1 count of carrying a firearm into a public assembly, and 2 counts of felonious pointing a firearm. Court documents reviewed by the outlet show Hawkins studied the Columbine school incident and told investigators that, quote, he wanted to conduct his own school incident like the Columbine offenders did, end quote. After entering the school, Hawkins allegedly pointed a firearm and yelled for people to, quote, get on the ground. He then pointed a firearm at a student and attempted to fire, but the weapon malfunctioned, according to the affidavit. Hawkins attempted to clear the malfunction before later firing at another student who raised his hands and pleaded, not to be pew-pewed. According to investigators, Hawkins lowered his weapon and told the students to leave. The OSBI said that Moore and school staff acted quickly to stop the attack. Well, God bless them. OSBI spokesperson Hunter McKee told a local news outlet, quote, the principal of the school had noticed that an adult male subject, 20 years old, had stepped foot into the school with a firearm. When the principal noticed this, he quickly stepped in, as well as other staff. The subject was able to fire multiple rounds where the principal was hurt, but no one else was. The actions of the staff and the principal stepping in as soon as I saw a subject with a firearm saved lives today, end quote. Absolutely. So God bless the principal, everybody else who helped out. I mean, they did a fantastic job. Did not hesitate at all. Let me see. Get back down to, I forgot to, okay, there we are. So I forgot to mark where I left off at. You made a short on which case? This one, the Deborah Kennedy, or the other one, the principal. Junior said he the storms woke me up, and I went out on the front porch and watched them pass through. I love storms. I do too. See, I love storms and the thunder and the lightning and a little bit of wind, but now when they start talking about the naders, I don't like that. Don't like that. Hey, Avery. Avery made it. She says, have no fear. I'm finally here. Welcome. It's always good to have you. Avery says, I'm too lazy to say hello individually. I'm the same way. I'll usually come into a chat and just say, hello, everybody. I'm here. Especially if it's late or if I'm tired, you know. Avery says she's 1,050% lazy tonight. That sounds like me every night, every day. Goodness. All right. I think I am caught up. So, come on. I got this stupid little thing in my way. Okay, there we go. So next, let me get the right article. I have so many articles. So this is another one out of Michigan. So we're working out of juniors territory tonight. 1983 kidnapping and homicide of Michigan teen solved, authorities say. And this article came out just once again a couple of days ago, April 14th. After more than 4 decades, the kidnapping and homicide of a 16-year-old Flint, Michigan girl has been solved by Michigan State Police cold case investigators. Sheri Jo Elliott was reported missing on November 16th, 1983, after she did not return home from school in Flint. Elliott was last seen waiting for a bus. Law enforcement and community members searched the area before Elliott's body was found on a rural road in Bloomfield Township in Saginaw County 4 days after she was reported missing. Police say that Elliott suffered multiple GSWs and had been SA'd. Despite an extensive investigation, authorities say that Elliott's case remained unsolved because of limited forensic technology at the time. In 2023, detectives reopened Sheri's case and partnered with the MSP Forensic Science Division and Othram Labs in utilizing forensic grade genome sequencing to create a profile of an unidentified suspect. And that suspect was later identified as 75-year-old Ronnie Collins of Grand Blanc. And I could not find a picture. Of course, obviously that is Sheri Jo there on the slide. Could not find a picture of the offender, but he's not important. And in fact, he is deceased because police say that Ronnie Collins, the alleged offender, took his own life in January 2026, so just not too long ago, before they could obtain a voluntary DNA sample. Investigators collected DNA from Collins' autopsy and matched the evidence that was recovered from Sheri Jo to identify Collins as the person responsible for the crime, police said. In an MSP 3rd District statement, said, quote, although Collins will not face prosecution, detectives believe the identification provides long-awaited answers to Elliott's family and the community, end quote. Absolutely. Police say that students from Western Michigan University's cold case program played a pivotal role in solving this cold case, reorganizing and digitizing decades of materials from the investigation. So that's cool. So I think here a while back we did, I don't know if it was the same, if it was Western Michigan University, but I remember we did talk about a class, a college class that had been tasked with, they were given some cold cases to look at and to work on and to see what they could come up with. And actually they come up with a lot of good theories and some good leads and stuff that they ended up giving to the police. Like I said, I can't remember, it's been so long now, I can't remember where it was at, but it's very interesting. So we have this one was solved after 40 years, 4 decades. And Othram, because in a lot of these, Othram is either the or one of the labs that does the work, the DNA work. And I believe it is Othram is out of Texas, I believe. So they do lots and lots of good work. Oh, Junior's having ice cream. Junior says it's about time for me to get ice cream. I'll be back. I'm having butter pecan tonight. Ooh, that sounds good. Ice cream sounds really good. Unfortunately, I still love ice cream, but my tummy doesn't like ice cream as much anymore. The older I get. Yep. Sounds good. Ice cream sounds really good. Okay. So let me see if I had anything else on Deborah or Sheri, excuse me. I think she's got a marked her web sleuth thread. Oh, it's a statement from her family after so just a little bit of this is going to be repeat, but there's some new or some additional information. On November 16th, 1983, Sheri Jo Elliott was reported missing when she did not return home from school in Flint, Michigan. Elliott, who was 16 years old, was last seen waiting for the bus. Police and residents spent days searching the area. 4 days after her disappearance, on November 20th, 1983, her body was found along a rural road in Bloomfield Township, Michigan. Evidence was collected at the crime scene, but despite an exhaustive investigation, no suspect was identified, and the case went cold. Then in 2025, investigators teamed with Othram to leverage identity inference, which is a process that enables investigators to identify individuals from DNA evidence, even when there is no known reference sample to initially compare against. So that's interesting. Was that you had to have something to compare it to. Officials with the Michigan State Police submitted forensic evidence to Othram's lab, headquartered in the Woodlands, Texas. At Othram, scientists reviewed details of the case, determining that advanced DNA testing could help to identify the suspect. Othram scientists worked to develop a DNA extract from the provided forensic evidence using forensic-grade genome sequencing to build a comprehensive SNP profile for the suspect. So this SNP profile powered a forensic search led by Othram's in-house forensic genetic genealogy team, resulting in new investigative leads about the suspect's identity. Using this information, a follow-up investigation was conducted, and this investigation led to the positive ID of the suspect, who is now known to be Ronnie Collins, 75, of Grand Blanc, Michigan. It says he was born on February 9th, 1950, and he would have been 33 years old when the homicide happened. Before investigators could get a DNA sample from Collins, he passed away by self-harm in January of 2026. A DNA profile was developed from evidence collected during the suspect's autopsy and compared to the evidence recovered from the 1983 crime scene. This comparison and the follow-up investigation has led to Collins being identified as the person responsible for Sheri Jo Elliott's SA and homicide. This case is a reminder that every piece of preserved evidence has the potential to unlock long-awaited answers. Absolutely. That's why it's so important. And just kudos to whoever saved and preserved and did everything necessary with the chain of command and everything. Maybe thinking, hey, maybe a few years from now we can use this. We'll be able to test this. We'll have new technology. So thank God that they saved it. It says, if you would like to support efforts to solve more cases like this, consider contributing your DNA data to the DNA Solves database, which aids law enforcement in identifying suspects and giving families the answers they deserve. It says the identification of Ronnie Collins represents the 21st case in the state of Michigan where officials have publicly identified an individual using technology developed by Authorum. You can visit DNA Solves to learn about other Michigan cases where your support can help bring long-awaited answers to families. So a statement from her mother, Joyce, said, quote, I'm just grateful that they found her, because if they hadn't found her, I wouldn't have been able to survive not knowing where she was or if she was being harmed. I wouldn't have been able to survive that, end quote. But for Schultz, the next 4 decades, not knowing who took the life of her only child, so it was her only child, were difficult as well. Her mom said it was just devastating. It was just a long, hard road. Michigan State, the suspect left DNA at the scene and with forensic genealogy. So we went over that. So yeah, I feel so much for the families. But like I said, once again, bittersweet. At least they know who the offender was. Unfortunately, whether his taking himself out had anything to do with this case, or if it just, well, obviously, in my opinion, he had mental health problems. If anybody who is going to take somebody else's life, in my opinion, definitely has some things going on. But regardless, and if he did take his own life because of this, because he didn't want to, maybe he knew that they were possibly getting close, and so he just decided to take himself out the coward's way. Anyway, all right, let me get caught up once again. Get my drink. Goodness, lots of there we go. Junior, let us know how your butter pecan ice cream is. Hi, Patriotism, good to see you. Welcome. Junior said on Sheri's case, Junior said, I watched a press conference on this case. Excellent. Oh goodness. Avery says, oh my goodness, I drifted off. I think I'm calling in tonight. Good night, y'all. Night, Avery. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. I understand about drifting off. I feel so bad. A lot of times I drift off during Dave's late night live streams and have to go back and watch what I missed on replay. Yeah, Miss Paula says, happy this solved. Absolutely. Did I miss Black Knight? Hold on. I saw. If I did, I apologize. Hold on, let me go back and make sure. I was kind of running through the comments fast. I don't see him. If I missed Black Knight in the chat, hello. I apologize if I missed you. I'm trying to go back and no, we're way back to where we was talking about the YouTube follies. I'm so bad about, and I'm even reading off my computer now where I can see them better, and I still miss. I still miss some. Josh says, I didn't find many original articles, but Sheri Jo's family is in articles contacting and supporting the parents of other missing and unalive children. Glad it is solved. Absolutely. All right. Mark right there. All right. So next we have one from New Jersey. And I do have a video for it, if I can play the right one. So I played that first one. So this next one. So I'll play the video. Okay, so Josh says, going back to Sheri's case, I'm assuming a quote from the family. A quote, I'm just grateful that they found her, because if they hadn't found her, I wouldn't have been able to survive not knowing where she was. I wouldn't have been able to survive that. I know that just kills me with these families. Just feel so bad for them. All right, so let me play this video, and it's about, none of these videos are too long, probably about 2 minutes or so, and then I will be back.
An arrest in a 36-year-old cold case. Lisa McBride was murdered back in 1990, and police now say that a key piece of evidence helped link them to her killer. Christine Sloan has this story from Sussex County.
The owner of this house in the Highland Lake section of Vernon, New Jersey, tells us this is where he believes Lisa McBride once lived and where she was reported missing back in 1990 before her remains were discovered near the Pennsylvania border. Daryl Eastlake was 9 years old back then and remembers the disturbing case.
The day that they found her body, unfortunately, me and my family were coming across the Dingman's Ferry Bridge. We saw that. I happened to move onto the street that she lived on. And I also worked for the same company that she did.
Authorities arresting Robert McCaffrey Jr. at his home in North Carolina, charging the 54-year-old with burglary, kidnapping, and the murder of McBride, who was 27 years old when she was killed.
There's plenty of people who were still out there, who care, and who just wanted some sort of closure to what was going on.
McCaffrey, seen here in 2018, once served prison time in South Carolina for obstructing an investigation into his wife's disappearance back in 2012. His wife is still missing. The New Jersey State Police says that is when McCaffrey's DNA was entered into an FBI database, and that with a key piece of evidence, and after exhuming McBride's remains in 2022, they were able to make a match. Eastlake, who lives next door to McBride's old home, says investigators came to her house in 2022.
What were the questions?
They were just asking if, when I bought the house, if there was anything unusual that we found, maybe during construction or anything.
As for McCaffrey, he is being held at a North Carolina detention center pending an extradition hearing. In Sussex County, New Jersey, Christine Sloan, CBS News, New York.
Okay, so another one solved. Thank goodness. I'm going to take that down. Put the slideshow back up. And I do have an article. Apparently he confessed. It goes to his... He confessed 5 years after the crime occurred. So this article came out April 14th of this year. Court records reveal alleged confession as new details emerge in 1990 McBride homicide case. This is from, so documents filed in a North Carolina court Tuesday has shed new light on the investigation into the accused offender or unaliver of Lisa Marie McBride, Robert Bob McCaffrey. The most notable revelation disclosed after his Tuesday morning hearing includes the claim that McCaffrey confessed to taking the life of McBride because she would not go out with him. He made the admission 5 years after the crime occurred, according to court records. McBride's life was taken in 1990, and McCaffrey admitted to a known associate that he took her life 5 years later in 1995, according to a search warrant and criminal complaint obtained by News 4. The search warrant was carried out in Manteo, North Carolina, on Friday, April 10th. 2 years after the admission, investigators alleged that he made Bob married Marjorie Gail Broom in Charleston on December 20th, 1997. In the search warrant, New Jersey State Police Detective Dominic Rubino stated that members of the Sussex County Prosecutor's Office and Vernon Township Police Department interviewed a known associate of McCaffrey's on February 5th, 2019, as they continued to investigate the McBride cold case. In that interview, the person told officials that at around 1995, McCaffrey confessed to taking the life of McBride, and that he attempted to return to her home in the following days to recover something that would connect him to the homicide. New Jersey's criminal complaint against him stated that the associate told investigators that McCaffrey said that he took her life because she refused to go out with him. Investigators noted that in March of 2026, a follow-up investigation with family and friends found no known ties between McCaffrey and McBride, and a preliminary law enforcement incident report states, quote, the defendant was a stranger to the victim. So I wonder if he had tried to talk to her and she refused to talk to him, or if it's maybe a fantasy type thing in his mind that he told himself that, or, thought that he talked to her and she refused him. It goes on to say it is unclear from the warrant if McCaffrey did return to the residence and retrieve whatever the item was, but more details in the document did reveal where investigators were reportedly able to locate his DNA from the crime scene, a DNA that would lead to his arrest more than 30 years later. Detective Rubino wrote that McCaffrey's DNA profile from CODIS, we all know what CODIS is, matched with biological material on an item of evidence recovered from the headboard of McBride's bed. When investigators initially entered the home in 1990 to find her missing, they discovered that all of the sheets, blankets, and pillowcases had been stripped from the bed. Crime scene photos showing the stripped bed and signs of forced entry, like the severed telephone line and cuts in a window screen, were included in the court documents. That just sends chills down my spine. So investigators determined probable cause through McCaffrey's alleged confession, DNA evidence from the item on McBride's headboard, and signs of forced entry into her home. During Detective Rubino's investigation into McCaffrey's background, he also discovered that McCaffrey had a military record. McCaffrey entered the U.S. Navy on July 5th, 1989, according to his DD 214 Certificate of Release or Discharge from Active Duty form. McCaffrey had a psychological evaluation on July 25th, 1989, less than 1 year before McBride's homicide, in which he was deemed unfit for service due to what they call, quote, impulse control issues. He received another psychological evaluation on August 17th, and he was diagnosed with a borderline personality disorder, according to Detective Rubino. And then he was dishonorably discharged on September 28, 1989. So according to about the search warrant, North Carolina Superior Court Judge Andy Womble issued the warrant, and it was carried out at McCaffrey's Outer Banks home around 5:30 p.m. on Friday. Items seized from his property included notepads, multiple cell phones, and a laptop located in the crawl space under the house. So yeah, if you don't have anything to hide, why would you hide those things under the crawl space in your house? According to an inventory of items seized included in the warrant documentation. Investigators also seized several firearms, which he was legally prohibited from owning. McCaffrey's rap sheet included in the warrant, or that was noted in the warrant. A 1911 handgun was located inside his home, and a .22 LR pistol was found in a box behind the passenger seat of his truck. That is also where investigators found 3 Lifeguard .22 single-shot folding pistols. What is a folding pistol? In a lunchbox and a passenger compartment, according to the seized items list. So either he was a collector, or McCaffrey lived about 13 miles from McBride with his parents and brother in Franklin, New Jersey at the time of the homicide. Investigators allege, and Detective Rubino stated, that his bank and employment records show they this is poorly written, hold on, no, I'm reading it wrong. Detective Rubino stated that his bank and employment records, should they be acquired during the search warrant, may indicate how he initially came to encounter McBride, who worked at a local bank in the area prior to her death. Okay, so that's how he could have come in contact with her, and then started these, in my opinion, these fantasies in his mind. Rubino wrote in the warrant that other items investigators were hoping to locate included items that belonged to Lisa that were never found in 1990, including her black leather purse, her New Jersey driver's license, and a set of keys containing a custom brass keychain etched with the letters Lisa. The detective said that based on his experience and knowledge, he believed McCaffrey may have kept those items to function as trophies, as a testament to his skill and power, consistent with research conducted by the FBI that shows many serial offenders keep mementos from their victims to relive their crimes. So yeah, that tracks, in my opinion. So I wonder if they've gone back and looked to see if they had any other unsolved missing or homicide cases in any of the areas that he was known to be in at the same time. Because in my opinion, my unprofessional opinion, he's got some psychopathic tendencies. Items matching the exact description of McBride's unlocated possessions as written by Detective Rubino in the warrant were not listed in the inventory of items seized. So McCaffrey appeared in person for a hearing in Dare County Tuesday morning, where he retained a public defender. He waived his right to contest extradition to New Jersey. The two states now have to coordinate his transport up north to face formal charges in the McBride case. So yeah, I would, if I was investigators, law enforcement, it's just, once again, my unprofessional opinion, not giving a diagnosis, but I would be looking at, like I said, other unsolved missing persons homicides with the same MO in places that he was, known to be at the same time. Because he's scary. All right, let me check your comments right quick. Let's see. Junior says, sounds like he took out his wife too. Yeah, mentioned that because he got married after. Let me go back to that other article. Yeah, he got married after he took the life of Lisa. I believe it said. Maybe in the other article. No, it was in the article that I was already on. Once again, it'll take it forever to load. I would not be surprised at all. Yeah, it said 2 years after the admission, investigators allegedly made Bob married Marjorie Gail Broom in Charleston on December 20th, 1997. Yeah, I would definitely be seeing if be checking up on her to make sure she is okay. Chris said he's familiar with this case. Excellent. Simi says impulse control issues, aka he's an effing pothead. Got it. I think he's a little bit more than a pothead. I think he got some serious. Simi says hothead autocorrect. Go home, you're drunk. I hate autocorrect. Yeah, I think he's got some serious psychopathic issues. Mark says he also looks like he drinks. True. Oh, you did type hothead? I thought you meant to type pothead. Yeah, Josh says some people are so fragile they don't know how to handle no, even with borderline and low impulse control. Yeah. So like I said, I'm wondering if he actually did, maybe they did, because I said that possibly he could have come in contact with her because she worked at a bank, maybe the same bank that he used. Maybe he did talk to her and she just kind of brushed him off and that was enough to set him off. That would be my likely, my guess, my theory. Yep. Chris says CODIS. Yes, that's our combined DNA index system. Yes, it's just easier for me to say CODIS. Junior says, I think it was the first article they mentioned he was arrested for hampering the investigation of his missing wife. Oh, wait a minute. How did I miss that? Let me go back to it. Oh, shoot. Let me go to the right tab. Let me find the right one. One second. No, don't make me sign in. I did miss it. Yeah. So police say McCaffrey's DNA was collected in 2018 when he served a prison sentence in South Carolina for obstructing an investigation into his wife's disappearance back in 2012. His wife's body has not been found. How did I miss that? I thought maybe they mentioned that in the video. Yeah, you're correct, Junior. Yeah, so my opinion would be that maybe he might have had something to do with his wife's disappearance. That's crazy. Crazy. Yeah, I guess he married her after, once again, after he unalived McBride, Lisa McBride. Good catch, Junior. I missed that. That's why I love having you guys around. I miss stuff. Yep, Josh found it too. Yeah. Charged with obstruction for fabricating elements and a farewell letter in 2023. What is fabricating elements? Yeah. Yeah, I have the sneaking suspicion that he probably, allegedly, has something to do with the disappearance and probable, unfortunately, homicide of his wife. Junior says he's a sick man. I bet he unalived his wife. I agree. I'm in 100% agreement with you. All right. So next, let me get the article loading. So this one, I believe, is about 50 years solved, or 50 years old, solved or identified. Not solved what happened, but they have identified a John Doe. Trigger warning for this, just some not very nice things with this one, but as you can see by the headline. So this article is from people.com. It is from March 2026. Headless body dumped on rural New York road in 1970, identified decades later, but who was the offender? For more than 5 decades, the man found without a head or hands on a quiet rural road in upstate New York remained a John Doe. Now, investigators say DNA testing has finally identified him as Clyde Coppage, a 35-year-old who had been living in Genesee, Pennsylvania at the time of his disappearance. New York State Police said in a press release that Coppage's body was discovered on March 20th, 1970, along Davis Hill Road in the town of Andover in Allegheny County. Despite years of investigation, authorities were unable to determine who he was. On June 7th, 2022, investigators exhumed the remains in order to collect DNA. According to the press release, working with the FBI, authorities were eventually able to confirm the body belonged to Coppage. Police said that Coppage was not originally from the area and had never been reported missing. So that's interesting that he was never reported missing. Factors that complicated efforts to identify him. The Bureau of Criminal Investigation out of state police Amity continues to investigate Coppage's death, which remains open per the release. So anyone with information about Mr. Coppage or the circumstances surrounding his death is asked to contact the New York State Police at 585-344-6200. I find it interesting that why was he never reported missing? And I did find there wasn't a whole lot else that I was able to find. But I was able to find, actually talked about two, once again, if it'll come up. 2 New York cold cases dating back to 1970 solved thanks to DNA evidence. Let me find. because when I was talking about Mr. Coppage, I did mention some interesting things. So Othram also helped investigators make progress on a 1970 cold case identifying a John Doe, although the man's death remains under investigation. A New York cold case. So in March of that year, decapitated remains were found on a rural road in Allegheny County near Andover. A New York State Police determined the remains were those of an adult male whose head and hands had been removed and an X had been carved into his chest. Investigators determined that he had likely been the victim of a gangland killing. He became known as Allegheny County John Doe, and details were added to the to NamUs. In 2023, investigators teamed up with Othram for identity inference, which led investigators to identifying victims from DNA evidence without the reference sample. It does say which led to potential relatives of John Doe. And so he did have some relatives out there. That led to a positive. Sorry, it's jumping. That led to a positive ID of the victim as Clyde Coppage, 35, who had lived in Genesee at the time of his disappearance. He was not from the area and had never been reported missing. So that's interesting that he did have relatives out there. Now, I mean, it could have been he didn't have contact, didn't associate with his relatives for whatever one reason or another. But he was never reported missing. But they did find, with the genetic genealogy, did find potential relatives that they did led to his positive ID. I thought it was interesting that they said he had an X carved in his chest, and they determined that he had likely been the victim of a gangland. Wonder if they mean like the mafia type stuff, because this is back in the 70s. So, and in in New York. So I wouldn't be surprised. But as always, let me know in chat what you think. Let me know if you're watching. By the way, if you're watching Replay Crew, thank you so much. We love our Replay Crew. And if you are Replay Crew, please leave a comment down below to let me know that you are Replay Crew. Yeah, that picture of him I don't know. He just has a look. Maybe he wouldn't. Maybe he did have some kind of I'm not saying. I'm just going down a little bit of a rabbit hole. Maybe he did have some mafia connections, even if it was just fringe, on the fringe of it, Interesting, very interesting. Horrible, but interesting. Let me see. Chris said he's giving creeper vibes to me. Oh, you're talking about McCaffrey? Yeah. Definite creeper vibes for McCaffrey. Most definitely. Okay. All right, so next we have our featured missing person of the night. This is Sandra Eckert, and I did post the flyer there on my community tab, along with Jennifer McCaslin's and Brian Schaefer's. We talked about Brian Schaefer, I believe, in our last live stream, or True Crime After Dark live stream. So please share them if you can. And if anybody can share them on Facebook for me, please do. I still can't get on Facebook. I can't get my app to work on my phone, and I still can't remember my password to log in from my computer. Anyway, so this is Sandra Eckert. She's been missing since March 26th of 2021 from Franklin, Wisconsin. She's a white female. She was 70 years old when she went missing. She was 5'7" tall, 130 pounds, with blonde hair and green eyes. Her nickname is Sandy. She was last known to be wearing a large navy blue and teal North Carolina Tar Heels starter jacket, black leggings, and colorful sneakers. So Sandra was last seen at her home near the Country Dale Elementary School in Franklin, Wisconsin at around 11:30 p.m. on March 26, 2021. Her husband, Wes Eckert Sr., stated that they had gotten into an argument over his late mother's will. Apparently, Sandra, according to him, wanted him to contest his mother's will. So maybe she thought that he wasn't getting enough or getting anything in the will. I don't know. He said, the husband said that Sandra got up, got dressed, and appeared to be preparing to leave, saying, quote, you will hear from my lawyer, end quote. So he said that he took her car keys away and told her that they would talk about the issue the next day. They ended up sleeping, now this is all according to him, they ended up sleeping in separate bedrooms. And Wes did not see his wife after going to bed. He says when he woke up in the morning, Sandra and his car were missing. Apparently she had still had a key to his car. So my question is, if he said that he took the key, her car keys away from her, why wouldn't he take the keys to his car? Just a thought. So he said that along with his car, he said that she also took several $1,000s in cash. After that, she's never been seen or heard from again. At around 3 a.m. on March 27th, his gray 2005 Dodge Stratus was seen traveling southbound on Racine Avenue, then westbound on Tans Drive, and then southbound on Crowbar Drive in Muskego, Wisconsin, which is about 8 miles from their home. The car has not been seen since then. Sandra's daughter said that she did not believe that her mother would have taken her father's car or driven anywhere in the middle of the night. Some of the couple's four children believe that their father could have been involved in her disappearance. Of course, Wes denies it. And he theorizes that Sandra met with foul play at the hands of someone who intended to rob her. So that could be a possibility if he didn't have anything to do with it, because according to him, she took several $1,000s in cash with her. Now, in the middle of the night, how anybody would have, unless she just stopped somewhere and was just flashing cash around, how would they have known that she had that much cash with her to rob her? But who knows? It could have happened. Investigators believe that Sandra was the victim of a homicide and stated they have 2 persons of interest in her disappearance. Guess who they are, or guess who one is? And her case remains unsolved. So if you do have any information, you can call the Franklin Police Department at 414-425-2522. And I do believe I have let me get caught up on. I do have a video with some statements from Sandra's son that are very interesting. Okay, so Josh, are we going back to? I don't know which case. Are we going back to McCaffrey? Josh says fabricating elements of his story to law enforcement. Okay. So going back to Mr. Coppage, Josh says, are head and hands unattached a norm for gangland unalivings? Sometimes. Mainly for the purpose of trying to keep them from being easily identified. Because obviously with the head, you could identify someone, and then with the hands, you could do fingerprints. But if you didn't have the hands, you couldn't do fingerprints. And yes, the mafia has been known to dismember victims. Absolutely. Hey, Doodles and Gray, good to see you. Welcome in. Mark says, I can't keep my eyes open. Good night, everyone. Thank you, Mark, for being here. It's always good to have you here. Sleep well. Yes, absolutely. Mustang says do all the things. Yes, and the flying hearts. Simi is mentioning the flying hearts again. Yeah, I guess on the YouTube chat down by the chat bar, you can hit something and it sends little hearts flying, and I guess it helps with the algorithm. So thank you for mentioning that again, Simi. I appreciate it. All right, so let me find this video and I will play it and be right back.
Considered a cold case. CBS 58's Taj Mahal joins us live in the studio with the latest. Tajma.
Bill, Sandra Eckert was last seen at her home on this day back in 2021. Franklin police are investigating this case, which has now gone cold as a homicide.
That day 3 years ago rocked our entire family's world and the community.
Wes Eckert says he and his siblings are still waiting for justice and closure since their mom Sandy disappeared.
They still have the officers working on it and stuff. It's just not as much of a everyday type deal, I think.
Investigators do not believe Sandy is still alive, but remains have not been located during search efforts over the last 3 years.
Recently, I did speak with the police department down in Franklin and visited down there to give a DNA sample, just to have that in the missing persons database if they do find more evidence that they can run that against.
Investigators named Sandra's husband and his brother persons of interest in the case, but there still hasn't been enough evidence to proceed with charges.
People within the family already kind of know what had happened. It's just a matter of proving it in court, and I feel like we'll get there one day. It's just difficult with a no-body homicide. It's hard to try because one can still just argue the fact that she might still just be out there somewhere, as unlikely as that would be.
What do you want people to remember about who Sandy was?
Anyone who met her, just remember her smile and the presence she brought into the room. At these difficult times, we got to think of the positive ones.
And Sandy's case has captured national attention and is featured in the latest season of a Paramount Plus docuseries called Never Seen Again. The family is hoping this continues to bring awareness to the case. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Franklin Police Department. For now, in the studio, I'm Taj Mahal, CBS 58 News.
Hope they find answers.
All right, so take that down.
Eckert now considered a cold case. CBS 58's Taj Mahal joins us live in the studio.
Sorry, hit the wrong one. I meant to hit that one. Okay. So so the two persons of interest actually they have in this case are, I believe, her husband and his brother. So oh, I'm on the wrong slide. There we go. Hey, Nicole, good to see you, my dear. Welcome in. Always good to have you here. And I do have another article about, let me find it. Apparently, and let me, I forgot, I think it was fairly recently. Apparently, the husband, Wes, is still alive, and he crashed her, Sandra's SUV. Waiting for the article to come up. It's taking its time, of course. Oh, come on. Come on, come on, come on. I'm gonna have to close out the tab and start a new one. Sometimes that works. Hold on. Bear with me. Bear with me. Oh, come on. It was working so well. It wasn't turning into that much of a dumpster fire. Oh, come on. Oh, my goodness. Doodles and Gray says, I don't necessarily disbelieve the husband. That is, like I said, it could be, yeah, that he is telling the truth. And if she did, because his theory was that she was robbed and killed, and he said, he did say in his story or his statement that she took thousands of dollars in cash. So it's entirely possible. I mean, all possibilities are on the table, obviously. Mustang agrees. Josh has got the dumpster emoji, dumpster fire emojis going. Oh, come on. Wanted this article to come up because he crashed her SUV and it had some statement. It just had some statements from the daughter about how, it just brought up all the old feelings of the grief and the not knowing what happened and where Sandra is, what happened to her. But it's not, of course, it's not going to come up. It's not going to come up, man. Not doing it. All right, let me get this other one loading. Hopefully it will load. So this next one is regarding Athena Strand, the little girl, the FedEx driver. It's horrible. I remember when this happened. I know we talked about this when it first happened. Once again, now nothing's loading. Jeez, come on. I have plenty of bars, more bars than I usually do. Maybe it's going to load. So do you guys remember the Athena Strand case? Oh, come on. We're doing so well. Doing so well. Oh, goodness, come on. Once again, let me, thank you, Josh. Josh says good night all long day and sleep is calling earlier. Or is calling early. Thank you, Josh. Always good to have Josh here. Please check out Josh's channel Where Lavender Grows. I'm sure Mustang has already put in the link. Yeah, Doodle, talking about Athena's case. Doodles and Gray said, I didn't follow that case, couldn't take it. I know. It's horrible. Horrible case. Right, I'm still trying to get this article to come out. Oh my goodness. There we go. Finally. So this is from people.com. And it came out April 14th, 2000 this year. A court hears a chilling phone call between mom and FedEx driver who took the life of girl 7, Athena Strand. So Tanner Horner is the offender's name. It's got a picture of Athena. She was just the most beautiful little girl. So a recorded jail call between Tanner Horner and his mother is offering a new glimpse into the former FedEx driver's state of mind after he took the life of 7-year-old Athena Strand. In the call obtained by KDFW-TV, Horner's mother asked him, quote, "Tanner, I just hope you didn't do nothing weird to that little girl," end quote. Horner replied, quote, "I didn't, okay?" And his mother responded, quote, I didn't think you did. I just know how you get," end quote. So she knows that there's something wrong with him, allegedly. In another exchange played for jurors, Horner's mother asked, quote, "What did you do? Did she die on her own?" And he replied, "No." To this, she responded, quote, "Oh my God," as he said, quote, "I know." Horner, who was charged in the 2022 homicide of the 7-year-old, pleaded guilty to capital homicide and aggravated kidnapping during his trial in Tarrant County, Texas on April 7th. Jurors are now expected to decide whether he will face the DP or life in prison. The child was reported missing on November 30th, 2022, and her body was found 2 days later. Horner, a FedEx contract driver who had been making a delivery in the neighborhood, was arrested shortly after. He later told investigators that he had kidnapped and taken the life of the girl, according to an arrest affidavit. During the trial, Wise County District Attorney James Stanton said, quote, "The only truthful thing that Horner told law enforcement was that he took her life." Jurors were also shown letters that Horner wrote from jail prior to a self-harm attempt, including one addressed to Athena's family, in which he apologized for taking the life of Athena. In the letter, he also wrote that he had been diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. I'm sorry, that's not an excuse. I don't know if he was trying to use that as an excuse. Horner's attorney, Stephen Goebel, has argued that the former FedEx worker suffers from mental illness, well, yeah, and other conditions, and asked jurors to spare him the DP. So I think I had something else. About the sentencing. Once again, if it'll come up. Miss Peggy says she's been watching the trial. Yeah, I think Grizzly True Crime has been covering it, showing the trial. Hey, Butterfly Kisses, welcome in. She says, heartbreaking case. Absolutely. I remember, like I said, I remember when it happened. It doesn't seem like it's been that long, 2022. Yes, there is video from the van. Junior says, I remember it. He was caught on video in his van. Yeah. Yep. Simi says, I'm watching that with Gigi and Gisela K. I jump back and forth. Simi says he already pleaded guilty, so there was no need for the guilt phase of the trial, so they jumped right to the sentencing phase. It's brutal testimony, to be sure. Yeah. Yeah, Miss Peggy says she's been watching it on Grizzly True Crime. So in this article, I wanted to read because two women have come forward after this accusing him of SA. Back, I can't remember what year, but they were both 16 years old. So this article is from April 2000 this year. Athena Strand's swabs showed male DNA, and two women accused Horner of of SA. So Tanner Horner, the man accused of taking the life of 7-year-old Athena Strand in November of 2022, searched for information about her online the day after the crime, according to testimony on the 6th day of his capital homicide trial. Jurors heard from FBI digital forensic examiner Scott Morris, who said records pulled from Horner's phone showed that he accessed Athena's pictures, missing persons posters, and crime scene photos in the days after her death. So did they release, how would he have access to crime scene photos? Did they release, what kind of crime scene photos did they release? Just the area? I'm sure they didn't release any of her, hopefully. So Morris also testified that Horner searched the phrases, "Do FedEx truck cameras constantly record?" And "Paradise Missing Girl." Prosecutors also called 2 women to the stand who said Horner essayed them years earlier in 2013 and 2014. One of the women described to the jury how she woke up during an alleged assault when she was 16 years old. She said, quote, "I was asleep. I woke up to him grabbing me and touching me," end quote. That witness currently has 2 pending SA cases against him. So apparently he, from what I gather, got into the house and attacked her in her bed. So the defense tried to discredit her by pointing to her contact with Horner after the alleged assaults, as well as her behavior at the time. So basically, they're victim blaming. Another woman who also testified that Horner essayed her when she was 16, she said that she was also asleep when she woke up to find Horner essaying her. She said she told only close friends about the assault at first, but after Horner got word about what she was saying, he messaged her and said that she was slandering his name. And both women, they said both women expressed regret for not reporting their allegations earlier. Well, I mean, what can you expect? We found out with so many, with these, files coming out, what files I'm talking about, and just there's so much victim blaming and victim shaming. It's no wonder that a lot of women who have suffered SA assaults, attacks, do not come forward. It's just one of the ladies said, quote, "I felt guilt due to the fact that if I had reported, things may not have happened to other people as they are accused," end quote. The final witness of the day brought some of the most emotional testimony heard in the trial. A DPS crime lab employee testified that she found presumptive blood and semen on Horner's FedEx shirt. She also said blood was found on Athena's jeans and under her fingernails. The witness also testified that Athena's SA kit showed male DNA on her vaginal and anal swabs. It says during that testimony, a loved one grabbed Athena's mother's arm and another wiped away tears in court. I would have come unglued. It says when the trial resumes on Wednesday, which was today, more DNA evidence was expected to be presented. Let's see. Just see if there's anything else about the testimony. So yeah, he's a POS in my opinion. So just a horrible case. So I guess they're doing all the testimony is for the sentencing phase, to see if he'll either get the DP or life. All right, so next we have another cold case that was solved after 40 years. Let me get the article up. So I found this came up in my newsfeed from a truecrimenews.com. Extreme atrocity and cruelty. Massachusetts man found guilty of strangling college student 40 years ago. And this is from Lawrence, Massachusetts. A man already serving time for attempted homicide has been convicted by a jury of first-degree homicide for strangling a college student in 1986. The body of 20-year-old Claire Gravel was found in a forest near a highway after her life was taken in June 1986, according to WHDH reports. The case went unsolved for decades. According to the Essex County District Attorney, they received a lead in 2012 that connected her killing to a man who was already incarcerated for attempted homicide. According to a press release from the DA, Deputy First Assistant District Attorney Kim Fatella said that testing yielded samples of the suspect's DNA on the weapon, which was a black tank top used to strangle Gravel. John Carey, who is now 66, was indicted on a first-degree homicide charge in 2022, according to Boston.com. Carey was convicted of attempted homicide for strangling a woman in 2007, according to WHDH, and he was already serving a 20-year sentence. He was found guilty of first-degree homicide in March for taking the life of Gravel. He was sentenced on April 9th to life in prison. Boston.com reports that in their verdict, the jury noted Gravel's strangulation death as, quote, extreme atrocity and cruelty, end quote. At sentencing, Gravel's family members gave impact statements. Denise Foley, her sister, said, quote, I have been waiting 39 years and 9 months and 9 days for today. Her brother Mark said, quote, they say the key to happiness is forgiveness. There is no forgiveness. The key to happiness is justice, and so it has prevailed, end quote. So, another bittersweet, happy ending. We have a conviction. Let me see if I had anything else on her. I think I had, okay, so this is from people.com. It's from April 2026. What they call the Hamilton Strangler took the life of a college student with her own shirt, then lived free for years until he struck again. A Massachusetts man known as the Hamilton Strangler, who was convicted of killing a college student decades ago, has now been sentenced for her homicide. John Carey, 66, was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole after being convicted of first-degree homicide last month in the 1986 killing of Claire Gravel. The Essex County District Attorney's Office announced in a press statement on Thursday, April 9th. During the trial, prosecutors described how the case breakthrough came from DNA testing, which revealed Carey's DNA on the black tank top used to strangle Gravel on June 29th, 1986. She was a 20-year-old Salem State University student from North Andover who worked at National Braille Press at the time of her death. In court, Assistant District Attorney Kim Fatella explained why Carey took the life of Gravel, saying that it was to satisfy his sexual interest in strangulation, end quote. Once again, with him, I would be looking into other unsolved disappearances, homicides, where he was known to be. Because you don't just wake up one day and say, hey, I'm gonna, do this. Gravel was found deceased in the woods near Route 128 in Beverly after she was last seen being dropped off at her apartment in the early morning hours following a visit to a pub in Salem, according to the Boston Globe. However, the case soon went cold. It was not until 2022 that Carey was indicted in connection with Gravel's death following a 2008 attempted homicide conviction that required him to submit a DNA sample. That sample was added to the CODIS database and eventually tied him to the unknown DNA on Gravel's tank top. District Attorney Paul F. Tucker said in a statement, quote, "The family of Claire Gravel has waited 40 long years for justice. The prosecutors here today, together with our partners in law enforcement, never gave up on Claire's case," end quote. Claire's siblings shared remembrances of her at Carey's sentencing hearing, describing her as a ray of sunshine who is full of hopes and dreams, including plans to study law, have children, and go everywhere and do everything, end quote. They also thanked those who worked on the long unsolved case and noted that Gravel is now reunited with her mother, who passed away in 2015. According to 7 News Boston, Carey, known as the Hamilton Strangler, is currently serving a 20-year sentence in connection with the attempted homicide case. A prosecutor said that he choked a woman inside her home in Hamilton, but she survived. Thank God for that. So yeah, if it hadn't been for him being convicted of this other attack, so then he was forced, or after he was convicted, he had to give his DNA. They ran it and got a hit on this case and solved it. So thank God for that. Let me see. Let me get caught up here. Thank you, Junior. Junior says, "I'm getting tired. I'll be listening as I get ready for bed." Yeah, we're almost done. I think this might have been the last one that I had for the night. Let me check and make sure. Yep. That was the last one I had for the night. So I'll get caught up with your comments and we will get out of here. Yeah, I like watching. Junior says, "I'm a grizzly." Y'all talking about grizzly. "I'm a grizzly. You're a grizzly. Would you like to be a grizzly too?" Yeah, I like watching Grizzly. She was probably one of the when I first got on YouTube. Well, not when I first got on YouTube, but when I first started getting watching true crime on YouTube. Her channel, along with Mr. Steve's channel, True Crime Web, was one of the first channels I started watching on a regular basis. I really like her and her channel and the way that she covers cases. She does it the right way, and all right, so that is all I had. So if anybody has any last thoughts, comments, anything else you want to talk about quickly. We did good. We about 2 hours, doing good. So Friday, if all goes as plans, if it's not storming, and I think we may be, we're supposed to have some storms tonight, but I think maybe Friday night and Saturday we might have some more storms move through. So if it's not storming too badly Friday night, and I'm not on a weather watch, nadir watch, I'm still, I mentioned it Monday, I believe, doing just like a chill, fun kind of live stream, mysteries and conspiracies, talking about some UFO mysteries and conspiracies and just whatever else. So we'll plan on doing that unless, like I said, unless the weather doesn't cooperate or something else comes up, which I don't foresee anything coming up, but who knows. And I will have, so today's Wednesday, I did upload a new pre-recorded video today, a missing person. So please check it out if you haven't already. Please watch it, like it, share it, comment on it, hype it, whatever, the hype thing, whatever that is. Let me Thank you, Mustang, as always, for being here. Thank you, Sammy. Yes, once again, please do all the things. Hit the like, subscribe, share. Thank you, Junior. All right, so everybody have a good rest of your week. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask. Have a good rest of your week. Be safe, be kind, just be a good human being. Watch out for the storms and anything else that might come your way. And hopefully I will thank you to everybody who was in chat. Thank you to the lurkers. Thank you to replay crew once again. So yeah, just everybody be safe, be kind, be a good human, and I will see you guys Friday.